What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson, back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about the Washington Commanders. Today is Wednesday, April 5th, and as you can see with this lovely graphic of our guy Defo, we are now 22 days away from the NFL draft, and I believe a deadline has now been set for Dan Snyder to decide who's buying this team and which bid is going to be pushed through to the next and final process of the transaction of the team. Magic Johnson spoke to the media yesterday. He put in one last word of goodwill. Washington has a litany of top 30 visits, and DJ Swearinger is back in DC, but he's here to defend and not command. But Eric Bieniemy's decision-making and the say and input that he has on the offense and on the draft. Tavita Pritchard met with Zach Selby. So much to talk about. This is Rambling About Washington. I am Rio Robinson. Let's pod. Washington Commanders Nation. It's April 5th, and we are 3 weeks and a day, 17 sleeps away from 17. Whoa, I'm tripping. I'm wilding. My bad. I'm draft drunk right now. It's not 17 sleeps away. It's 22 sleeps away. Literally right in front of me. Like, get it together. But we're 22 sleeps away from night one of the NFL draft, and Washington is literally meeting with every relevant defensive back and offensive lineman that is in the 2023 class. The current list of players Washington is meeting with, and I'm going to save one for last because we're going to dig into and get into depth with one of them. DB Brian Branch out of Alabama. Terrell Smith, cornerback, Minnesota. Joey Porter Jr. out of Penn State. Fred Smoot's boy, the Mississippi State Bulldog, Emmanuel Forbes, that weighs like 130 pounds, but he's an absolute dog and turnover machine. Linebacker, DeMarvin Overshown, Texas. Center, Ricky Stromberg, Arkansas. Center, Alex Forsyth, Oregon. The Big O, Saiba, Osiris Torrance out of Florida. Antonio Mafi, UCLA. Steve Avila, guard, TCU. Darnell Wright, tackle, Tennessee. DeJuan Jones, the mountain of a man out of Ohio State. And the guy I want to save for last because I want to chew on this one for a little bit. Hendon Hooker, a guy we're meeting with. We're doing our due diligence. We met with all the quarterbacks. We met with the Anthony Richardsons of the world at the combine and whatnot. We'll probably take meetings with guys because you have to go through the process, because even if you don't intend to pick these guys have teammates you have to ask questions about. And there are guys behind you in the draft, if one of these guys slides, that you could gauge interest in a trade back in, specifically Hendon Hooker. I believe it was JP Finley that pointed out that the Vikings are interested in taking Hendon Hooker. The Vikings pick, I believe, number 23 in the draft, which is 7 picks behind us. If we're taking a meeting with him and making them believe that we're interested in Hendon Hooker, they could hit our lineup and be like, yo, I need to get ahead of you, or I need to get in your spot because we want to take this guy. And in 2024, we want to reign in a new era post Kirk Cousins. But Hendon Hooker, he would be a surefire top 20, top 25 pick without any questions being asked had he not torn his ACL at the very end of the season. Like, the most ill-timed opportunity to hurt yourself is the end of a college season. So you lose the entire draft process. You don't get to throw at a pro day. You don't get to go to the Senior Bowl, and you don't get to work out at the combine, which is like the meat Olympics No pause intended. It is the underwear Olympics for sure, the meat market for football players where you can go put that arm on display. And Hendon Hooker has arm talent. He has mobility. He checks a lot of boxes in a lot of people's book, especially from a mental makeup and character perspective. But the pause with Hendon Hooker, not even the injury to me. Dudes get injured and come back from it unless it's not some out of the ordinary injury like Chase Young's ACL, where he had to take the patella from one knee to the other knee. The bigger issue with Hendon Hooker to me is his age, bro. Man's about to be like 30 by the time he started on the NFL roster. Hyperbole, a little bit. He's going to be 26 by the time he starts his first NFL game. 26 years old. You take him in the first round, by the time his rookie contract's done, he's 30 already. And people trying to like diminish the relevance in his age, that's a big deal, my guy. That's an old-ass fucking quarterback. Like, he's been in college forever. Fucking Van Wilder of college football. But Hendon Hooker is great. Like, he's going to get drafted, and I think he's going to go night one. I think he's going to go somewhere in the 20s or 30s, and it's going to happen on night one of the draft. I think someone's going to shoot their shot, and they're going to go with the boy. But the list of names Washington is bringing in for top 30 interviews, it doesn't surprise me at all. We all expect it to be DB or O-lineman. We don't really expect too many other things. And as we've seen since Ron took over this team, we don't necessarily draft the guys that we go on meetings with. Jahan Dotson was like, he had very minimal contact with this team leading up to the NFL draft last year, and we traded back and we took him at 16. A visit does not assure you that they're that interested. Remember, Ron said a quote after the draft. I think it was at his post-draft presser with Mayhew last year. He said, we don't normally interview guys or bring them in for that pre-draft interview that we have questions about. Some guys we have zero questions about, and we don't feel like we need to meet with those guys. So keep that in mind when you see that. Yesterday, let's go back to the sales news real quick. Magic Johnson was on Good Morning America yesterday. It was Good Morning America. It was one of them shows. I don't know. I don't watch daytime television, but let's call it Good Morning America with Al Roker in there. I think that's who he was on with. If not, my bad. Craig Melvin, one of you guys. He was one of you groups of people speaking, and they got right to the shits and asked them, so are you buying the Commanders? And then they asked some asinine question, are you going to change the uniforms? Well, technically, they don't watch football, so they don't understand that you can't really change your uniform until like 2 or 3 years. But the uniforms look great, so we're not even going to go there. But Magic really stepped up and said, he said, me and my group, we want to own Washington. The bid is in, and we're hoping that we win it. All of that non-disclosure, confidentiality went out the window, and he was just like, look, man, we want it, and we want to impact and affect the area on more than a football basis, on and off the field. And what you've seen him do, the political posturing and pandering, if you will, is exactly what I told you. Magic, even as a minority share owner of the team, when it's Josh Harris and Mitchell Rail's team, Magic would be the mouthpiece and figurehead of that group, because just watch him. Look at the way they light up. Like they're just sitting around like that meme. Oh my God, wow. And everything Earvin Magic Johnson says out of his mouth, the smile, everything. He said, I got rings in every sport. I need a Super Bowl ring. I'm not even going to lie. I got chills watching it. Just imagining going from Daniel Snyder's awkward ass at a podium to Magic Johnson and company. What a time to be alive, man. But according to AJ Perez and a guy I'm not going to source because he's like Dan Snyder's social media mouthpiece, that mystery bidder that everybody's thinking about is exactly who everybody's thinking about. The world is still waiting on Jeff Bezos to make a play on this team. And according to everything that I'm reading, Bezos hasn't made a bid yet, but they're expecting a bid to come, and it's going to be in the $6 billion range. And now we wait to see when. But the next NFL owners meetings are on May 22nd, and the league is kind of expecting that to be they're expecting Dan to have accepted a bid to push through for the owners to vote on by May 22nd. So we're a month and some change away. And this process is taking a little longer than we all expected it to be. But hey, the last team that sold, it took about 7 to 8 months to make it happen. Just know this. Dan the Dweeb Snyder, that white collar criminal fucker is out of our organization in the next couple of months. So don't forget that fact or don't get lost in the process. He is out of here. Finito, gone. He can go do crimes in the UK and go ruin another sports franchise. Have at it. Never want to hear his name again after he's out of here. But I'm excited, man. We're 22 days away from the draft. I don't know if y'all seen that fire-ass Commander's Log documentary promo that the team dropped. Made me want to go run through my apartment wall. Made me want to go suit my washed ass up and go take someone's head off. Just chills. And shout out to Julie Donaldson and the content team for the amazing and consistent quality content that we get on a regular basis. If you're not familiar with Commander Log, it's the behind the scenes backstory, all access docuseries that the team provided starting last year. The first year as the Commanders, where we're getting access to the war room on draft day, where you're hearing about, oh, we should call this team to trade back. If we trade back, I think we should take Dotson. And the summertime, the team's working out, like everything. We got access to a little bit of everything that we've never got before Julie Donaldson took over the content team here. We didn't get any of that when we had Mr. Scantangibles here, Larry Michael, the nasty boy. Nasty, man. He looked like a nasty motherfucker. It didn't surprise me at all when his name got brought up with a lot of the nasty shit in the Alex Santoses and Dan Snyders of the world. But anywho, I can't wait to see what they're cooking up for this year, and I can't wait to see as much War Room content. And me and my boys, we're gonna be in the War Room in a couple weeks doing our draft and our role play for the 2023 draft. But Tavita Pritchard caught up with Zach Selby. Tavita Pritchard, our new quarterback coach out of Stanford, to talk about his relationship with Eric Bieniemy and why he chose Washington as the destination he wanted to take on in the NFL. And he said he was attracted to play with Eric Bieniemy. They've known each other for about a decade, and they really hit it off. They have similarities in offensive philosophies and EB's approach to culture. He mentioned that Ron Rivera was a big reason he came to Washington as well. He had a great deal of respect for him, who's a well-known entity where Pritchard is from in the Bay Area, and called the prospect of working with Ron one of the last pieces to the puzzle. And then the good stuff, the juicy stuff, he starts talking about the West Coast offense. I'm quoting Zach Selby's tweets at Zach Selby on Twitter, lead beat guy for the Washington Commanders. Pritchard said he likes the options the offense presents to customize and mold around its different players. He talked about how at Stanford, Christian McCaffrey and Toby Gerhart were two running backs with two completely different styles, but were able to thrive in the same system. And he said, Bill Walsh developed the West Coast offense at its core to be creative. We want to be creative. We want to be innovative. We want to be at the cutting edge. I love it, bro. Give it to me, because all of the words he just said are the complete antithesis of Scott Turner's existence. The complete opposite. Nothing about any of what he just said is Scott Turner or any principles that have to do with Scott Turner. Maybe some Norv, but none Scott. He said he preaches decisive decision-making by the quarterbacks, because he said indecision is worse than a bad decision. He wants to scheme up the offense so the quarterbacks play fast and confident. He wants everything to come second nature to him. And he said he's going to dig more into Jacoby Brissett and Sam Howell next time he speaks. I love it. First thing we've heard from him, because we haven't seen a presser or anything left. And that brings me to another piece. When Ron spoke about Eric Bieniemy's presence, making draft decisions and transactions for the team, Eric has a lot to say because it's important as we go through this process. It's about fit. These guys got to fit what he wants to do as far as draft pick is concerned. A lot of things they're going to be predicated on speed. I think we've got a good core of receivers already. It's almost like a track meet because these guys are fast, and that's one of the big emphasis on the offense that we're looking to add speed guys. We're looking for guys that can run and those kind of guys that can make an impact and be different makers in games. We've talked about it, and it's funny because you listen to his philosophy on certain positions, and it's very pronounced. He's very dogged on about it. And in fact, we had a discussion today. It was really good. And to me, it was really informative listening to him and listening to his personality too, and how confident he was about certain things because Eric Bieniemy brings the motherfucking energy. He's not here to lose. He knows he's on his last shot. He might want to pay that reminder to the guy that's writing his check, Ron Rivera, because Ron, it seems now that he knows he's on his final legs here, Eric Bieniemy knows he's coaching for his NFL soul here. He can't come out and fail here. If he fails here, he's done in this league. Point blank, period. In the discussion, he didn't come here to fail. He came here to thrive, goddammit. He came here to thrive, and I'm excited to see I can't wait to get out to OTAs and to see this team at camp and to see these boys get after it, man. I'm so excited to see some new players here too, man. That draft is coming. The draft is going to tell us a lot about how much say Eric Bieniemy has on decision-making here because there are guys at certain spots that people don't think need to be upgraded. If we upgrade at those positions, it'll tell you a lot about Eric Bieniemy's sway he has here. But that's all I got on the topic for right now. DJ Swearinger, salute to DJ Swearinger, Jungle Boy Swag, our former free safety, former PFF #1 safety and leader of interceptions on the Washington Redskins. He signed with the DC Defenders today. Shout out to him for getting back after it, getting back on that field. Put some good tape out. You probably get back in the league, man. Them boys in the XFL are getting after it. Salute to Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, on the success of the XFL so far. And before we get out of here, I just want to go on a little rant, a little tangent, a little diatribe, because I am so sick of this narrative. These stiff, old, uncultured motherfuckers who watch sports and expect people to play without emotion. Sportsmanship, class. Watch chess. Watch paint dry. Sports is not for you. Watch dry-ass regular season baseball where they get their fucking panties in a bunch every time someone flips a bat or stares down a pitcher. Basketball and football ain't that, bruh. It's competitive. It's alpha shit. Men or women. And y'all know why I'm talking about this. We saw the national championship, the good national championship game, the women's one between LSU and Iowa. The Bayou Barbie from the DMV, Angel Reese, and the Steph Curry of women's basketball, Caitlin Clark. LSU whooped that ass. It was an entertaining game. Iowa managed to make it competitive, but that's not what we're talking about right now. At the end of the game, Angel Reese walked Caitlin Clark down as she was leaving the court, gave her the John Cena, and yes, John Cena, you can't see me, and pointed to the ring finger like, you ain't got one of these. Guess who does? Me. And people got up into a fucking tizzy about it. Oh my God, you can't do that. Why is she? Shut the fuck up, you soft fucking bastards. This is sport. What the hell is sport without passion, without soul, without feeling? Taunting, showboating, hot dogging, all those stupid ass words that people that look like Skip Bayless say, that shit is good for sports. You know when football was at its peak entertainment? When Chad Johnson and T.O. were doing outlandish touchdown celebrations every week. It's good to see. It's good to see competitive juices. And we pick and choose the things we want to say is too much when it comes to sports. We like to say that some people are doing too much. And we like to say, oh, the NBA's soft now. I liked it more when they were fighting back in the day. But as soon as two players get into it, oh, they're doing too much. There's no reason to be that competitive. Let these motherfuckers compete. Let them play with personality. Let them play with swagger, because that's what makes sports sport. Oh, how can kids look up to them? By doing the same shit. Nobody's saying you got to try to embarrass your opponent, and there's a time and a place for some of it, but fuck that. You do something great, you can talk about it. You can gesture about it. Why the fuck not? Sports is not just a competition. It is entertainment. And I understand some of you do not like entertainment. Chess, watching paint dry, standing out in the desert and watching a tumbleweed flip into the fucking wind. Those are things that I suggest for you. But when you watch sport, athletics, competitors, people who poured their heart and soul and worked tirelessly for minutes, hours, days, months, and years to get to the professions that they got to, do not need to be told by Larry from bumfuck West Virginia that he's classless because he gestured at somebody or because they showboated after winning a championship. So my advice to all of you cultureless, no personality, dry people out there: kick fucking rocks and stop watching sports. Watch Fox News. It'll be a lot better for you. And it's funny that a lot of the rhetoric that I see out there about these classless individuals, they supported a president that has braggadocio for no reason. But we don't talk politics on this show. That's all I got for right now. Kick rocks, you uncultured motherfuckers, and stop watching sports if personality is too much for you. Period. We didn't all grow up the same way. We didn't all grow up with a stick in our ass. Some of us have swagger and personality, and we like to put that on display doing the things that we're good at. If that's a problem for you, fuck off. Like my man from Succession usually say, Conrad Roy. Until next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. Take that stick out y'all ass. Deuces.